1. I work at a vet clinic. Since COVID, when people adopted loads of pets, appointment wait times have exploded industry-wide. My clinic also has the distinction of being one of the only practices that sees exotic pets, anything not a cat or dog, like birds, reptiles, or rodents, within a 60-mile radius. So our appointment wait time reflects that level of demand. Some of our clients who've been with us since before the new millennium haven't been able to get used to the new wait times. And things were just starting to get a bit better in the last few months, but then as summer got closer, everyone wanted to get dog and cat vaccines updated so they can board and travel with pets for vacation. This interaction happened last week. Thank you for calling. How may I help you? I need to get my dog in for vaccines. I'm leaving the state next week and need the certificate to cross state lines. I look up her account. Our vaccine appointments are actually about 3 weeks right now, but lucky for you, your dog also needs an annual exam with the doctor. Exam appointments are only about a little over a week, and we can do vaccines at the same time. What day are you leaving? Wednesday morning. Ooh, I don't have anything till Friday. It takes all of 3 seconds to inject my dog with the vaccine. Can't you just do it? Ma'am, your dog also needs an annual checkup with the vet, which is a full physical that we legally have to do in order to administer vaccines. Also, we have a wait list right now for cancellations, so there's about 20 people all waiting for appointments for simple injections. Are all those people going out of state on Wednesday? Ma'am, we all have our own personal emergencies and needs and life stories. I can tell you most of the patients on our wait list are suffering horrible seasonal allergies and need a shot to stop scratching themselves bleeding. We just have limited time and staff to get everyone in. Does Tammy still work there? She does. She just got off shift right now. Tammy would not have pulled Karen any strings, which I knew, but she confirmed for me when I told her about it the next day. And what about Bobby? No one has ever worked here by that name. No, I know it was Bobby. She had reddish hair. Ma'am, I am the only redhead who works here. Then I suggested another name, which is my own, and close to what she said if her memory was bad. No, definitely not. I just wanted to see how much turnover there had been since last time I was there. Oh, well, put me on the cancellation list. I'm sure the other clinic will act like they actually want my business, though. So don't be surprised if you get a request to transfer my records. Me knowing we never call waitlist people unless they're on schedule for a future appointment. But Karen's already hanging up. Okay, bye. We are consistently overbooked to the point of having to refer good clients who don't treat us like shit to emergency vets. We had to stop taking new clients for about 6 months. We're fine weeding out the Karens from our client roster. Also, I'm still convinced she was remembering me as the nice employee before, and just getting my name wrong, which I find hilarious. You're totally right, Karen. This place has definitely gone downhill, ever since they replaced me with me. 2. This happened a couple of years back. I, a 45-year-old male, was on my way to Mother's Day dinner and had to stop at a local Walgreens to pick up a card for my mum. After picking out a card and gift card, I walked to the register where there were a couple of people in front of me. The person at the register was just finishing up. Everything seemed fine. And then the Karen steps up to the register and yells, how much is on her card. Her voice was immediately rather off-putting, but who cares, right? No big deal. The cashier does not understand, so she inquires further. The Karen replies with a screeching nasal sound which I believe was a summoning Belrog, or some such from the depths of Walgreens' past. The Karen then demands again to know how much is on her card, a credit or debit card, I can see at this point, and she says she does not know which item to buy until she knows how much each of them are and how much she has. Now this sounds logical. How much money do I have so I know what I can buy? But yet the Karen does not understand the cashier cannot check the balance on her debit or credit card. Cashier starts to point to the ATM, but the Karen keeps screeching and yelling, how much are they? What do I have? So it goes back and forth. Cashier asks to scan one item to see how much it is. The Karen puts her card in the reader and asks how much she has. Cashier says, "Ma'am, I don't know how much it is. Please don't put your card in the reader, because then I can't see how much your item is." Then the Karen removes the card, and the cashier tries to scan the item, nearly crawling over the counter, as Karen won't actually hand her the item, and the Karen's screeching, "How much is this one?" Then the cashier gets a beep, and it scans, and the Karen puts her card back in the reader, which takes the price off the screen for the cashier. This goes on for almost 10 minutes. Every couple of minutes, Karen moves further away from the register, so I step closer. Eventually, the Karen is holding her 2 items about 5 feet from the register, so I lay my card down and gift card down on the counter, and the cashier rings me up. I thought to myself, don't punch the Karen on Mother's Day, don't punch the Karen on Mother's Day. Anyways, the cashier rings my stuff up, and it comes to about $50 or $60 for one regular $3 or $4 card and a $25 gift card. I think, well, that's odd. Then I see the cashier's face just absolutely fall, like she kicked a puppy on accident, and she mutters, "Dear God, help me." I immediately knew what had happened, so I just started laughing loudly and with much glee. I said to the cashier, "Fuck it, just total it," and paid for my stuff and the couple of different packages of adult diapers the Karen had. The cashier said, thank you so much," and then starts to tell Karen, "Ma'am, this kind man has—" Nope. I interrupt her and just shake my hand no, and say, "Not till I'm gone," and hastily limp and scoot and hop out of the store as quickly as I could. As I hit the doors, I could hear the cashier telling the Karen a kind man had paid for her stuff, and then, "Well, how did he know much I have in my card?" "No, ma'am, he paid for them." "But how did he pay when we don't know how much each one is?" And I was out of range for the screeching. Still feel bad for the cashier. 3. This story has mental abuse of an autistic person. Reader rage discretion advised. Will be a long listen. A bit of backstory on me. I was diagnosed around 4 or 5 with Asperger's syndrome, with comorbidity, meaning my Tourette's, ADHD, OLD, and even gastral problems are attributed to my autism, making it called comorbid as being present with it. I am lucky in the sense I'm high functioning, but not lucky enough that it didn't leave me ostracized by society, being pretty smart, not stating arrogantly, but I have a very high IQ of 160. Some teachers didn't like me, specifically math teachers, as I never showed my work, just wrote the answers. I never understood the problem, and I still don't as I see it. If you know how to solve it, why show my method if my method was using my brain? I was living in a row called Goshen for the first part, and the second Jint, and I was in 4th grade. So the first part happened from a teacher. She was by all accounts the worst teacher I've ever had the displeasure of meeting. She was nice the first day, but that all changed when an aide was appointed to her class. She asked why the aide was there, and the aide replied, pointing to me, because I had problems with speech at the time, and it was an English class. Her first words were, "If someone that stupid can't talk, I shouldn't be in her class but the special class." And the aide did not correct her. Now I want to point out the aide herself was not mean, but was complicit, as she never corrected the bad behavior. From then on, Mrs. Butts actively made it a point to call me stupid. Now, when I say she called me stupid, I mean if I raised my hand, she would replace my name with stupid. She would make it a point to bring me up to the front of the class and humiliate me by reading test scores and telling my answer and have people forcefully laugh. She even got students to call me stupid instead of my name. Now at the time, I was on certain meds as they changed them on me, and would cause me to get drowsy. She would see this and make me stand or outright remove my desk. I did go to the principal, but he didn't believe me, as she spread rumors that I was a bad kid. I finally broke down to my parents. Without evidence, we couldn't do much. So for a week, I took a tape recorder my parents got and recorded everything. We took it to the principal, and their response to this matter was to remove me, not the teacher, because she was going to retire in 2 years. So I had to sit in the classroom with me and a single teacher, no other students for that class. Well, it got worse with the bullying as she would see me in the school, and by that point, we were already moving to the next town. No justice, and at the time my parents didn't know how to handle these situations. When we moved to the new town, I was hopeful for a better school experience, but boy was I wrong. The principal, Mr. Donkey, seemed like an unmotivated man. When my parents walked me in the office for an aide assistance, he scoffed. It was at that time that I got a pit in my stomach. He didn't like how tall I was, standing at 5'8". I was so tall for my age, my parents had me get a brain scan for tumors to be safe, but had overactive growth plates, and that I needed an aide. Because of this, people didn't believe my age, and he thought I got held back, and my parents weren't trying to embarrass their precious special boy, were his words. The incident happened on Tuesday, and I'll never forget that day as long as I live. It was chicken sandwich day, my favorite day for lunch. I had money from allowance saved to buy extras that day. I was having a good day. I was in my music class, and when she let us out for lunch, I asked her a question while everyone hurried out of the class. I didn't understand how to read music notes, but she knew I was good with math since I helped students, one being her son. She explained the fractions and reading notes was like a math problem, and the music was the solution. It made a click in my brain, and I will still forever be grateful for such teachers like her. When I started to come down the flight of stairs, I noticed a crowd. There was a girl laying on the ground and another teacher directing students to walk away. We went to the cafeteria and I got my extras, forgetting the stair scene, just excited for lunch. Once I sat down and sat beside Angel. I call her that with my deepest affections because she always stood up for me no matter who it was. I took a bite of my chicken sandwich, and as I'm chewing, savoring the bite, I feel it. 2 arms of 2 police officers grabbed me under each shoulder. I was confused and started to cry because of my confusion and whispers. We got to Mr. Donkey's office. I was sat down and he laid a paddle on his desk. One of the officers in the office with him and the other closed the door behind him. I was not asked why I was there. I was told I was here because I had pushed a girl downstairs and that she was in the hospital. Me still crying, hyperventilating, trying to explain I was in the music classroom asking about music notes when that happened. So I got my answer why she was on the floor, but no one was listening to me, not even the officer. Then in front of me they called my dad, and told him I was going to be going to juvenile for this, and made me scream and have an outburst. My dad left a meeting to come to my rescue, but the officers and the principal had their man in their minds. No sooner did my dad get there, and the officers get a call. The girl woke up and explained who actually pushed her. Apparently, she liked another boy, and a boy who liked her didn't like that, and pushed her. And if I can't have you move? So the officers told the principal, and the principal told the officers it was me, as I had always caused problems since I got there. My dad was a pastor, and for a pastor to hurl the insults he did that day would make Jesus look the other way. From that day on, he would find ways to blame me for anything. Basketball team lost, my fault for slowing the team down. Rumors starting, I had to have spread them. It got so bad I was getting excluded from school activities, and even had his nephew target me. Although he didn't need to, since he liked Angel, and she was always by my side like a shadow. Mom and Dad pulled me from the school and homeschooled me after that. Again, no justice was done, as we couldn't prove anything in court that was concrete enough. It was around this time Mom was teaching me about computers, and I fell in love with them. I did end up going back to school when we moved again, and did have better experiences afterwards. But school should never be a place where bullying of any kind should be tolerated. Believe me, after all that happened, I tried unaliving myself. It was never the students I was worried about bullying me, it was the teachers and the principals. I wish I could say schools have gotten better at handling such situations, but my brother has had similar experiences, albeit not to those extremes. Parents, if you ever see your child dread going to school or their mood changes, keep them home and call off and talk. Also, if anyone needs help, please, you can talk to me or call the suicide hotline, or even text them. They aren't only for the worst-case scenarios. I wish I had a better ending for you, but sometimes the school system doesn't always favor the students. 4. This happened during my time working at Home Depot, and this Karen truly believes that it was our fault her kid had walked off on her, after management found him trying to get a snack to eat. It's not our job to babysit their children for them. I'd been working for a few hours at checkout and was told by Sally to switch with the garden center for the rest of my shift. So I had to walk past the service desk to get to the garden center. As I'm passing by and see a middle-aged woman, aka Karen, looking around at some items with her son, a nice kid. I didn't think much of it and just kept walking to the garden center to swap with my coworker. I think about 20 minutes pass or longer, I'm ringing up a customer, when I hear the sliding door open and catch a glimpse of the nice kid out of the corner of my eye. My customer must have seen him too, because we both turn our attention to him, and as soon as he notices us looking at him, he quickly turns and heads back inside before we could say a word. We just assumed Karen had motioned for him to come back to her, and that's why he quickly went back inside. Not 10 minutes after my customer walked away, Security 1, along with David, a lot associate, walks out looking around, and Eddie, the manager, is stating a code Adam over the intercom. I am confused and ask David what's going on. A mother lost her son, and we're doing a quick lockdown to find him. I saw a little boy walk about 10 minutes ago. Did you see which direction he walked in? He walked out, stopped, and when he saw me, he immediately turned back around and went back inside before I could say anything to him. I just thought his mom had called him back. Another 15 minutes later, code Adam is lifted and I see David, clearly annoyed, shaking his head with annoyance, followed by a woman's voice screaming from the building, "How could you let my baby just walk off like that?" Ma'am, please calm down. I understand that you were concerned about your child going missing, but there's no need to raise your voice. I don't exactly remember how the rest of the conversation went, because customers had walked up to my register and the doors kept opening and closing, so the conversation became muffled. I just know from what David told me is that Karen had turned around and Nice Kid had disappeared. Karen went to Eddie panicking about Nice Kid not being where she last saw him, standing next to her, and Eddie had Security 1 and David come stand guard by the garden center, while having Security 2 and a few other associates, including Sally, stationed at all the other 3 exits, in case Nice Kid tried to walk out of the building. Eventually, Eddie got a call over the store phone that acts like a radio too that Nice Kid was found over at the service desk trying to get into the dog treat container. Apparently Nice Kid was getting hungry and had been asking his mom for a snack, but Karen just told him that she'll get him a snack soon, which she must not have gotten him because he just wandered off on his own until someone at service spotted him trying to get the dog treats. But after Karen goes on a rant for us not taking care of her son and making many threats. I'm not surprised. She was eventually told to leave because she was starting a scene and setting a bad example for the Nice Kid, whom I'm certain was still waiting on his promised snack from his screaming mom. 5. I'm sure many people have dealt with a rude coworker who doesn't want to confirm if they've done their job properly, many times before. For me, this was one of the rare moments where I was left thinking, WTF, that's not my job. It's your job to clean this. I'm only asking you a simple question here. Only for them to continue to not respond with a proper answer. So this happened yesterday afternoon while I was at work, and I'm still annoyed by the entitled behavior of this dishwasher. Especially when I was being very nice about it, and because I needed to clean cups to serve drinks to our customers on my floor. It had been a bit of an eventful day, a bit of a rush here and there with drinks, and it didn't help that my no-show coworker didn't bother showing up for work, and Caddy, another coworker, was forced to set up the floor by herself. Luckily, a bay host was working the same floor and assisted with her setting up. I didn't start till 9:30, but when I got there, I started working right away, and around noon, Caddy decided to start doing carts, so the dishwashers can wash the dirty dishes and clean the cups for when we needed more for the rest of our shift. First round was okay, I was handling everything just fine, and wasn't having too much difficulty. Second round was getting a bit harder, but the bay hosts were helping out by running their own bar drinks, and also helping me when they got the chance. Caddy eventually finished the drinks and slowed down for a bit. I asked about if there were extra clean cups, since we were down to just 6 stacks and will be low if there's another rush. I think I just saw them washing the cups, but they were just sitting next to the dish pit, so I wasn't sure if they were just drying them or maybe giving them 5 more minutes to dry off a bit. Okay, I'll go check in 5 minutes. I ended up doing other things, and by the time I realized it, we were now down to maybe 3 stacks left. So I headed downstairs to get the cups, only to see stacks of cups seemingly still dirty and unwashed. I'll mention now that we normally place the clean stacks over by a stairwell just outside of the kitchen to indicate they're clean cups. I've made the mistake of grabbing dirty cups before and was forced to bring them back down. So I decided to ask Karen if they were washed or not. "Excuse me, Karen, are those cups washed yet?" She pulls an earphone out.
What?
I point to the stack of cups. "Are those cups washed yet?"
I don't know. Maybe?
"I thought you were going to wash them," I asked confusedly. Karen asks a different dishwasher, and he asks how many do we need washed, which I again mentioned. "I thought you were washing them." Karen grabs a cup from the stack and sniffs it, before just shoving it into my face, saying, "Smell!" I literally had to lean back or get hit in the face with a cup. Karen proceeds to grab more cups, smell them, and shove them in my face repeatedly, saying, "Smell!" Until I backed off and gently pushed away the cups, saying, "Can you please wash them for me? We really need some clean cups right now." About 30 minutes later, we did get a stack of clean cups, which we were happy to receive. But there was a rush of drinks happening right then, and cause it was a very, very hot day. We barely finished stacking said cups before we ran out, and I had to bring down the now empty racks to the dish pit for the dirty cups to be stacked before bringing up a new clean stack indicated by the soaked ones now placed in the stairwell. This rush happened for almost 3 hours, and we quickly ran out of clean cups again. So I went back downstairs to get fresh ones, only to again see stacks of cups just sitting next to the dish pit. I'm looking at them, debating if they're clean or not.
They're clean.
"Are you sure they're clean?" She waves me away.
Yes, go take them.
I'm hesitant because the stacks weren't wet or showing signs of wetness, as though they'd been washed. But we needed cups too, so I bring them up, and sure enough, 90% of them were still sticky, or still had soda syrup stuck to them. Caddy and I sorted through the clean ones and put the dirty ones back on the stack to be washed again. When I started pushing it out of the elevator, Karen saw me and asked,
"What, no good?"
"Some of these are still dirty."
"No, I washed them. They're clean. I washed them."
Before again grabbing a cup, sniffing it, and again shoving it in my face to smell for myself. I leaned away from her and walked away to find a manager to let them know that Karen wasn't doing her job properly. I got to the hub, the manager's office, and went over to Joy, since the other managers were looking over some schedules and I didn't want to bother them.
"Hey, what's wrong?"
"Karen, the dishwasher, hasn't been washing the cups."
"What do you mean?"
"Earlier, Caddy told me she thought she saw them washing the cups, so she decided to come back upstairs to wait for them to dry off. But when I came down to get them, they weren't where they're supposed to be if cleaned. Then when I asked Karen myself, she acted like she didn't know if they were clean or not, and instead grabbed the cup, sniffed them, and just pushed it into my face, expecting me to smell it." Why would she do that? She's supposed to know if they're washed or not. "I'll go speak with her. Thanks for letting me know." I'm not sure if Joy spoke to Karen or not, because it was the end of my shift. But I sure hope Karen starts actually doing her job properly, because she's been there longer than I have, and knows during the summer we run out of clean cups easily. Because of the hot weather, and the customers will demand extra drinks to stay hydrated. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Idiots in the Wild, episode 121. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Please do pop a like before you go, thank you kindly. If you'd like to get the videos a little bit earlier, you can support the channel through Patreon, where I post the links near the start of the week, usually on Tuesday. See all 7 at once. You can find the link to the Patreon in the description. You'll also find the link to the Hellfreezer merchandise store, where you can get yourself some amazing Hellfreezer merchandise, designed most of them myself. And you can also make donations during videos and streams to help the channel out if you wish to do so. and while these are not required to enjoy the channel, they help pay the bills and are very much appreciated. And we have a little birthday shout-out to do before we move on, and today's shout-out goes to Jessica. Jessica is 40 today. Yeah, July 5th. Jessica turned 40. And as they say, the 14th anniversary of their 26th birthday. Well, if it is your 14th anniversary of your 26th birthday, I think that means 14 slices of cake. You may need to bring in a second cake to make up the numbers. It depends on how you slice your cake. I think 4 slices is the normal for a full cake, is that right? Sometimes 2. But whatever you do, make sure you're having a nice time, whether cake is involved or not. Okay, and before I go, I'd like to sing Happy Birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jessica. Happy birthday to you. All right, now let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is: when I mention a fad from the past, specifically home decor, what springs to mind? Something that was so popular at one point and it just disappeared. As inexplicably as it arrived, it went away. For me, I can't help but think of those face masks that were hung on walls. My mother had a few of them. There was like ones that were about the size of a face almost. And there were smaller ones as well. And they were just weirdly popular. I don't understand why. It might have just been something in Britain. It may have been all over the world. I'm not sure. But it was in many homes. They were all very popular. And then just as quickly as it became popular, it just, no one cared anymore. It was gone. So do let me know home decor fads that maybe you're guilty of partaking in. Those masks were so creepy, but I don't have any in my house currently. I don't know where all the ones that were here went, but I would not hang them on the wall if I ever found them. They would likely get thrown out. So please do let me know in a comment below some of the ones that you enjoyed, or maybe some of the ones you hated. I look forward to reading your answers. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.